We would literally sing all the time.
We worked hard.
We took that serious. So we got up there, and Rhett blew the pitch pipe. He was a pitch pipe blower. Thank you for your ministry.
You're welcome, man.
Yeah, you were phenomenal pitch pipe blower. Yeah,
so good
look
with
at
that pitch pipe.
Justin was always in the middle. He sang lead. And so Rhett and I are waiting. And because Justin started a lot of songs. And Rhett and I are like humming pitches and like doing everything in the world, putting our arm around him, rubbing his back, hey buddy, you got this, man. Like you can
Everybody
do this.
thought it was a skit
Because we were fun guys.
I thought we were mixing it up a little bit.
Mixing it up.
I didn't show my eyes. I just appear with my hands in the air.
It's a little embarrassing for me, and I'm like, come on, man, dude. We only practiced 759 times on this song.
It was a mind
Sing
block.
the dang note, And miraculously, Justin finds the note and starts to sing, and the whole place erupts, stands on their feet. We start having church,
and
on
we
this
have
song.
revival. Yeah,
Literally brought the house down.
What is going on, friends? It is so great to have you back for another episode of the podcast here at Armchair Authentic with your friends, Rhett and Justin. It truly is our hope to steward our stories and our relationships in a way that serve you by having real conversations about real life with real people. And today we're really excited to begin a conversation that we recently had with one of our dear friends of over 26 years of doing life and ministry together. His name is Micah Solomon. Now, what we captured in today's episode is really reminiscing and even rekindling our friendship. So we welcome you today to join with us in this personal conversation that honestly was a long time in the making. So before we jump into this conversation, though, always want to take a minute and say thank you to every single one of you who have taken the time to follow us on social media. In fact, if you're new today and this is your first episode, welcome, friends. It's so great to have you. At some point, would you do us a huge favor? Go to Instagram or Facebook and find us at Armchair Authentic. That's Armchair Authentic, or you can go on over to X and find us there at Armchair Auth Pod. That's Armchair Auth, AUTHPOD. All right, friends, now onto a conversation with a guy we've known and done life with for over 26 years, the one, the only, Micah Solomon. You guys ready? Here we go. Justin, it's unbelievable. Today, we have the one and only Micah Solomon with us in the studio today. This is amazing.
I can't believe it because everybody has heard us talk about our third guy, like our best friend, and you're going to hear him in the studio today. So, Micah Solomon, welcome.
Oh, this is awesome. Thanks for having me on.
A friend of 31 years of our life. We've been 39, 40 years of friendship, and Micah in 1993, man, he stands apart.
And bro, I can't over enunciate, over express this, but you and your family were such a huge part of my life and my walk with the Lord. And I don't think I would be in ministry today if it had not been for your dad, your mom, you, your sister, your entire family, and the investment. And we can get into all of that. Like, I think we were talking before, just even we hit record, how multifaceted and how long of a conversation we could have with this episode. Yeah. So if you're new to the episode and you're joining us, welcome to the friends and family. This is kind of like a mini reunion for us that happens once a year. We mentioned this a couple of episodes ago. We were like, Thanksgiving week, we're going to hopefully have the opportunity to sit down with one of our best friends that we've known forever and just shoot the breeze and allow the Holy Spirit to do what he does and to lead and guide this conversation, because there is so much to be said about your heart, your dedication, your sacrifice, your investment, your family, ministry, your testimony that we'll all get into. Yeah, man. And it really is worth listening to and diving into. But I don't know where we want to go, but I just catching up for a minute would be great for me.
Well, even first of all, too, like Micah Solomon he is one of the most talented guys I've ever met.
No doubt.
As a musician and as a worship leader. Mm-hmm. I remember we would always joke when we were younger that it just isn't fair to have the range that he had, even on singing. It's just always been this God-gifted deal. Obviously, he got a lot from his parents. I didn't
100%.
inherit those genes as well.
Well,
but-
let's be real. We don't do a video podcast on this thing, maybe for a reason, because it was one of those like, dear God, he got everything. He got the gifts, he got the girls, and he got the looks. And he got the Lebanese look, the dark skin. Like your whole family's just unbelievable. Like models, it's ridiculous. I didn't get that, but I was like,
remember?
yeah, we would go hang out as friends, and I would think a girl's looking at me, and they're like, oh no, they're looking at Micah. No.
Hey,
We'd be waiting in line at the amusement park somewhere, and we're like, oh, those girls are cute. And they're like, they ain't looking at us.
They're looking at
Micah.
And in those early days, we would,
Oh, man.
we'd be spending the night in our apartment and just kind of talking things.
Yeah.
And we were in those first days when we met Micah, we were like, man, Micah's so cool, man.
Yeah.
God.
And in the most manly ways, like, God, how did we
We're
not get
embarrassing
the...
him.
Golly, yeah.
Well,
We're
Micah's like, I've never heard this before.
yeah, see, we're catching up. Micah's hearing things he's never heard before. But we're like, oh, this is a counseling, healthy set. You know, like all that
It's
to
true.
say, he's a good-looking dude. Good look, man. Your family's amazing. Talk about your family for a second, man.
Yeah, I've got an incredible wife. Been married 24 years. And Jessica, and we met when I was in college and kind of on the road, and been together ever since. And so, 4 incredible kids. Micaiah is 21, and he's finishing up college here in spring 2025.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then Judah is 19, and he's incredible and working on his music career, and works for me at the church as a content creator, and does website stuff. And then you've got Justice, and he's in college, graduated high school year early. He's 17, and he wants to be an aviator. So he wants to fly
That's awesome.
jets, and so he's working on that. And then you've got Jocelyn Lolly, and she's my baby girl, 15, and so she's a freshman in high school.
That's insane.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And to date us, you were, well, I think I was 16 when we first started going to the church we grew up in.
Yeah, I was 15, and Micah would have
14.
been 14, turning 15.
Yeah, so how does that make you feel to know you got a 15-year-old daughter, and this is about the year that we all met?
That's crazy.
It was.
Yeah.
He would have been 15
Yeah.
by the time we were really hanging out.
That's true. Yeah.
Because Micah was with me. He's one of those few people. Just to give a little background, because I can remember at the we all graduated from the same school, Parkway Christian Academy. Boo, it doesn't exist anymore.
I know. We were the pioneers, by the way. Come
Yeah,
on, that's
we
pretty
were.
prophetic. Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
the pioneers.
We had are you telling me we had a theme song and I missed
didn't
it?
know that?
I did not
Yo,
know we
listen,
had a theme
what?
song.
We are the pioneers, PCA pioneers. We love our Lord, country, and school.
Oh, you gotta be kidding
Give
me.
courage day by day and learn His word indeed. Na 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 na, truth and love.
Where's the dedication, man? You don't remember the lyrics?
Teach us, O Lord, we pray.
Oh, my
our
Lord.
values in the sky, our brother's keeper evermore.
I've never heard that.
Unbelievable.
PIONEERS. PCAR school. Dun.
Okay, so wow,
Good job.
Micah, how about that?
That was
Yeah,
before y'all's time.
unbelievable.
All right, so now we all went to...
Hold up. But you've been to Parkway. You were a part of that school for like a very long time, like when it first started, like kindergarten or
Yes,
something.
matter of fact.
That must have been some brainwashing or something they did.
It was.
Because they didn't do that in high school.
We had weekly assemblies.
man.
There we go. We had weekly assemblies.
Okay.
And one of our teachers, her name was Mrs. Lyde, and she would get and play the same piano we had in our church when the school was at the church at Parkway.
Okay.
And weekly we would sing the school song.
Well, there you go.
That was pre-me.
Pre-me, baby.
Yeah, you guys,
Yeah.
it was pre. I can't believe we've never talked about this.
Yeah.
All I remember was Mrs. Frank's dad, who dressed up as a pioneer. And
I do remember that.
He would come out with that like musket and go
Yeah.
at every basketball game, and that was about it.
And then they, it
was
was
it.
time to make a legacy and shift the pioneer to another person. Do you remember that?
Was that you? They did
Yes.
to you. Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
You were the
They
mascot
chose
for,
me.
I do
like,
remember that.
for a half a second.
Oh,
Yeah.
I never put on the uniform. They had
My cool points are about to go down, and I'm not doing this.
because you remember
That's what I heard.
we had something called the bleacher creature. And it had like the basketball with the eyes cut out, and you put a basketball over your head.
I remember that.
And I went
With
and
a cape.
did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and they like rode me out, like I'm kind of standing on this thing, and people carried me out like a king would kind of like I'm surfing to the middle of the stage.
Oh, you loved that.
Oh yeah,
He was all about that.
That was some attention right there. But I pulled out I had a poem that I had written about our upcoming homecoming game against our rival.
Is it a poem or a poem?
A poem. And every line that I read, the crowd would just cheer. And so that felt really, really good.
Yeah.
But then they were like, but we got to be the pioneers.
Yeah.
And so they had a custom pioneer outfit made for me. And I put that thing on. It was at my house, and I'm looking in the mirror, ready for the first game. And I remember thinking, can't do it. I'm not going to set foot on the basketball court. and so I never did it.
And at that point, it died. It never happened again.
It never happened. And it was like I didn't want to confront saying I don't want to do it. I just left it unspoken.
I think they knew. I think they figured it out pretty quick.
And I think I gave it away to Goodwill 4 years later.
I was going to say, did you return the
No, I didn't. It's set in my closet.
His tuition went up about another $25.
No one ever asked me about it. So I'm like, I guess it's mine to not wear. But getting back to the hallways of our school, you know, we weren't a huge school, so you knew when there was a new person.
Yeah.
And I remember, Micah, when you first came, we never really talked, but I would always see you were a grade lower than me, and I'd pass him, you know, in the hallway and just thinking like, you know, who's the new guy?
He and his Georgetown Hoya hat.
Yeah, he didn't have that yet.
Oh, I thought he did. That's
No,
when I
not
remember
then.
you.
That's when
on the
you met
basketball
him.
court. Yeah.
But he was more of I always thought he looked kind of like this Patrick Swayze looking guy. I was like, who's the Patrick Swayze looking guy? Now just kind of keep it to myself. And then when I finally visited Parkway, a girl invites me, and we go to Parkway, and that's when I saw Micah. I was like, dude, this is his church. That's when we met that whole crew, and that got me in the mix. And you befriended me, Micah. You were one of the reasons, we've talked about this on a previous episode, where we had gone, me and Rhett were just checking things out. We met a youth leader at the gym. We decided to go check out, you know, the youth group one night. And just like a lot of places are, we didn't fit in. Like we were not a part of the country club vibe. So we just kind of never came back. What I remember is when I came back the second time without Rhett, I met you and a couple other people. And it really made an impact on me where I felt like, wait, I actually belong here.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've never really just talked about that, but that kept me coming back. And I remember the girl that I came with, she invited me to the beach trip, like our youth beach trip. And I'm like, well, sure, I'm going. There's going to be girls and it's the beach.
Let's go.
She backs out at the last minute. I would have totally backed out, but I didn't because we had established enough of a friendship where I didn't feel like I was going to be alone.
I never knew that.
And he's one of the reasons because Rhett, you backed out too. Because your girlfriend didn't go.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Is that why I didn't go?
It's exactly
it's
why
such a
you
blur to
didn't
me. I don't remember that. That was pre-Jesus
Some
for
things
me.
I remember well.
Because the girl I was dating, I wasn't serving Jesus at that time.
No, you
was
weren't. Well, and I wasn't either, but I had met some friends and I thought I could go.
And if she's listening, you're awesome. You're a good person.
Everybody's awesome. Pass is a pass.
Pass is a pass. Yeah.
But I had a connection with Micah.
I just remember getting dumped before going to the skating rink. And we can laugh about it now. Like I was the guy. I felt like I was the guy that I was being dated because I had the car and it was access
with
to
lights
just being able to
under
drop.
it.
And all that.
Yeah.
And then once school was getting ready to start back, you know.
Low ride.
Yeah. Well,
Sorry,
Micah,
I don't know why.
Me and Micah many a times riding around in that black Honda with lights underneath it.
1982 Honda Accord hatchback. It was originally baby blue. I had it painted black. I ended up putting purple lights underneath it and inside with
big subs.
10 CD changer, 12 inch.
System.
I had 2 or 3 different subs. I lived in an apartment complex. They got stolen every couple of months.
Do you remember? Let me test your memory here, Micah. Do you remember this? We'd have to get in the car. There's 3 of us, so someone is not going to be in the front. Do you remember those initials? GITB.
No.
GITB.
Goob in the back.
Oh my God!
Do you remember that?
Do you remember that?
Yes.
I ain't being no GITB.
Well, Rhett never had to be the GITB because he was driving.
I was the GITB a lot.
I was a GITB.
The goob in the back.
Got the front too.
Yeah.
It was, we would have our times as we would hang out we'd always hang out great, but there were those seasons where certain ones of us would have a little more hangout than the third.
Yeah.
So that determined who was the GITB.
Yeah. That's funny.
But we fast forward, we ended up at at Parkway, the church, and that's where we kind of got our feet wet in ministry, and Micah was a huge part of that. And do you remember meeting us for the first time? Is that all a blur?
Not the first time. I remember when we started to really connect, if we're okay to go there, the bus ride to Beach Freak, and it would have probably been.
Did you say Beach Freak?
Or what was it? What was it called?
Did y'all call it Beach Freak?
I don't ever remember Beach Freak.
I was like, oh my God. Is that another
maybe
minute?
that's a separate
That was
church.
before Jesus.
Yeah. The Panama City trip.
Okay, there you go.
The youth camp.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Beach Week?
Beach Week. There you go. Yeah.
Florida and week mixed together is freak. There you go.
Yeah.
Right here on Armchair Authentic.
You are about to bypass so much time. I have a feeling what you just said, you're going to move so far ahead. But go ahead and say it.
No.
Because
I think
Justin
I know
has
where
his
you're going.
timestamp memory.
Yeah.
Like he could, timelines are ridiculous.
I want to know where you're going.
So, I do not have Justin's memory.
I don't either.
But I would imagine maybe the second year, so not the year Justin just talked about, the second year,
He's right.
us three were on a bus, and we had started singing a little bit.
Yes.
And we sang a lot.
Yeah.
And then we got our name. We were like,
Because we
hey,
had
let's-
always wanted a name, and we couldn't find the right name for
we
our
would sing
group.
at church a little bit and
But
stuff.
we were
so
singing
weren't-
stuff like
Churchy stuff.
Well, maybe churchy stuff. But I remember on the beach trip, I thought we were like singing like old like love songs or something.
Boys to Men and
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh,
We
yeah,
started
a lot of
dabbling with
Boys
some
to
of
Men.
that. Yeah.
But keep going. You're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I
So
remember this.
so our little group got our name 24/7. They were like, "You guys won't shut up. You sing 24/7." I remember all of us looking at us like, "That's the greatest name ever."
Yeah.
Oh, matter of
That
fact,
works.
it was if her, and I remember her name right. It was Danielle.
Yeah,
who was
Carlton.
from up in Kansas City. Am I
Yeah.
making that up?
Yeah.
Danielle Carlton.
Yeah.
That's right. So she.
Unbelievable. My brain just opened a little bit.
We're
I totally
singing.
forgot about
Yep.
Daniel.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we're singing in the bus,
Wow.
and she's like, "My gosh, y'all sing 24/7."
Yeah.
And we looked at each other.
Yeah.
We're like,
It was the van.
that's it.
Or whatever.
We
yeah.
went to Kansas
Yeah,
City. It
van.
was the van thing, right? I don't remember.
it was
anything
a
about
bus.
we was
that.
going to
It
the
was a
beach.
bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Pastor Scott
Okay.
was our
It was
youth
going to the
pastor.
beach for
That's
sure.
right. That's right. That was.
And he
well,
was
yeah.
driving way past all these cars. He drove that bus like a hot ride.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right, Mike. I remember
Yeah.
that. That was
Okay.
1994.
Yeah,
Same year.
so that's probably that's
Yeah.
some of the earliest memories I have of you guys. I don't really remember you coming to the church like for the first time. I just remember all of a sudden it was like when you guys came, we must have really connected because you were my buds, you know. So
Well, I think the church went through a major transition. The youth group dwindled, and then we ended up leading worship somehow. And I think that's when we all started singing together a little bit.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you never wanted to sing. You kind of like were, I don't know if you were rebelling against your parents or whatever, but it kind of felt like, I don't want this. I don't want to do this. I don't want nothing to do with church singing at all.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
You know, now you're an executive pastor and
everybody in my family sang, aunts and uncles, grandparents, great grandparents, cousins, literally. And dad and mom always, back in that day, it was big for the families to sing together, right?
Yeah.
Like Southern gospel and stuff, the family. And so he always tried to get us to sing in church together as a family. And a few times I would go and sing, but I was like, I'm going to do anything but that. And it wasn't even rebelling against a calling or anything. I just wanted to do anything but sing. And so, but then came to Parkway, and actually when I was getting, checking in like classes and stuff, right? And I had a big friend, Darren.
Rogers?
Darren Rogers.
Oh,
and he
yeah.
played basketball, and we connected there. And of course, he went to the church.
Yeah.
And so he was like my friend that was in my grade, right,
Yep,
at the
that's
time.
right.
And he was like, hey, I'll hang with you on the first day or whatever. So his mom was actually
The receptionist.
She was a receptionist, and she was helping us with classes, and it was like either gym or choir with Mr. Council.
Oh, yeah.
And he really formed a lot of
he
what
did.
we do today
Yeah, he
too.
did.
He affirmed us.
Great guy. And so anyways, Darren was like, it's gym or choir. And I was like, that's funny. And I remember even joking, like, because I loved basketball.
or
I loved
choir.
soccer.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, man, dude, gym. He goes, no. He's like, all the hot girls are in choir.
Sounds like
I'm serious.
Darren.
I'm
Sounds like
serious.
Darren. I bet.
And he goes, and we go on trips during the year, and we get to leave school, and like it's a big deal, and you're going to need to join the choir.
Good job,
so I
Darren.
kind of
Way to
joined
go, Darren.
Good job, Darren.
I
Talk
got
about
in there.
recruiting.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, I kind of got in there because of that, and then of course those choirs and ensembles that Mr. Council was amazing, and
he was
really helped us develop our gift
Big time.
as much as probably the church did, and that's where we got to sing a little more together. I remember the guys ensemble. The disciples, the 12. Do you remember that? 12 guys.
Oh, well, I remember that. Yeah. I don't remember us having a name.
Tannenbaum, baby.
I remember, yeah.
We sounded, that was amazing.
Don't start singing. Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Don't get Justin started.
That out.
Yeah.
Y'all make me come alive.
Did you go to Carnegie Hall with us?
Yes.
I can't remember that.
You went
yeah.
to Carnegie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I skipped that
That was
one.
a trip. Yeah. I know
We
they had
talked
all our
about that.
grades kind of together, so we weren't hanging out then, I guess. But
yeah.
wow.
How did I not
That
go
was
to that then
pre-Jesus.
if y'all two went?
Well, that was a little bit
Was that
pre-Jesus for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I didn't go to that one.
Yeah.
Man, I was scared to fly.
We talk about that on another episode. You can go back and listen to it.
And then we played
Okay.
soccer together.
Yeah.
That was
that's right.
awesome.
My
We
senior,
played
my senior
soccer
year.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
we had a lot in common.
So one of the things I remember first, if you take it back a year in '93, you know, we'll talk more about your dad too, because you can't help it.
No,
Two men
huge part of our life.
who helped us become who we are as vocalists is
Right.
Mr. Council. So
Yep.
Tom Council, who is still at Toccoa Falls, the college,
That's awesome.
and your dad,
Yeah.
Rod Solomon. And so I can remember back, I had just been picking at the guitar a little bit. I hardly knew what I was doing. This is even really before my surrender to Christ. I was coming around and hanging out with Pastor Randy's daughters and obviously the Solomons.
Yeah.
And I remember playing just some, me and my cousin who we had actually interviewed previously, Matt Kaplan. We had wrote a song together called I Need You Now. And I'm singing this love song in the youth room just because it's cool to play guitar. And your dad came in and listened to me. And then he came up when everybody kind of stepped out. He came up to me and just started saying, he was like, man, I'll tell you what, you're really going to notice a difference when you begin singing. Basically, he was expressing this love that you can have towards God. Mm-hmm. In a way, I'd really have never heard of it, that you sing a love song to God. And he planted that seed. I didn't obviously do it right then, but he planted that seed. Is like, it's going to come alive for you. He didn't know I wasn't a believer, but he probably figured I'm this rough boy off the street. But I would end up giving my heart. Yeah, the bandana. That was, me and Rhett and our socks that we wear on our head.
Yeah.
As one who's wearing a beanie right now.
That's true.
I'm trying to figure out, is you good up there on the top? I hadn't seen, okay, okay, I hadn't seen any hair. I haven't, no, you don't have to take it off. I'm like, it's been 2 years since we've seen each other. We are getting a little bit older.
That's
I'm
right.
like, you need to peel that back a little bit. Let me see what's underneath there. You got a fully head
God
shape.
let him bald so me and Rick can have something on him
Can
after
we
31 years.
I would never pray that, but you know.
Yeah.
No, well, I mean, it would. Micah would be like that. Have you seen some of those memes on socials where there's like the friend, and it's like the real good looking person falls and trips, and the other friend's trying to capture it, like, haha, I finally got him, and they'll take a picture.
That'd definitely be Rhett.
No,
No.
man.
But listen, they take a picture and then they go back and look at it, like showing them, and during the fall, it made it look like this amazing photo, like.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
And it's ticking off the person taking the pictures.
He's like, dang it, he even looks good when he falls.
Yeah. So Micah,
funny.
if Micah balls, he's gonna be like this stud that it's like, oh, never mind. Give him his hair back, God.
No.
Sorry. So bandanas.
hilarious.
Sorry. This is the rabbit trail that Rhett can throw us on. Every
This
once in
is
a while.
what we
This
need,
is what we
man.
do.
But your dad planted that seed
Yeah.
when I went on that trip and came home completely in love. That was the best word, in love. Surrendered, but also in love with Jesus.
Yeah.
And I remember, I don't know if we've ever talked about this before, but I would come to your house, spend the night. We were making this new connection. Rhett was really about to come around. Like, you had this encounter not long after. But he was still hanging out in the Taco Bell parking lot with the guys with their lights under their car. Mm-hmm. But me and Micah were hanging out in his room. And I remember just asking Micah, because I had been around charismatic churches. I had heard it, so it didn't weird me out.
Yeah.
But I noticed that Micah and some of the people my age, actually, when they were praying, they had what would be a prayer language. Mm-hmm. And I never understood it. And I remember we're sitting in your room and I'm like, tell me about this. Like, you're praying. What are you doing there? Are you just kind of making up some words? And then you had began to tell me about that's a gift that the Holy Spirit offers. And all you got to do is be eager to ask.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I remember you prayed for me in your room. And I don't remember receiving that gift in that moment.
Right.
But it opened me up to it.
Planted a seed.
It planted a seed, and we had, just a regular church night, and I'm sitting in worship, and I'm just praying, and I begin to articulate, and I have this prayer language that I begin to pray in.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's awesome. To this day, I know obviously we have so many different audience people who love Jesus, and we have a lot of listeners who you are not a Christian, but this is our life and this is our journey, and this is part of my journey 31 years
it's
ago.
Your experience
to explore that gift, and it's been such a wonderful gift. But as I look at my friend over here, like you were part of that journey to help us get, really help me get started on that journey.
Yeah.
And so it's just really, really cool when that's why I had to go back the year before that, because there were major things happening in my life. And then we get to what Rhett's talking about. We had our youth pastor. He went and planted a church, but it really ended up, you had really kind of a church, really kind of a break, if you will. There were a lot of people who shifted out. Yeah. So we had
and to clarify, it wasn't Pastor Scott. We're talking about a different one.
Yeah, that's right. No, Pastor Scott came back and resurrected.
Yeah, he was a huge part of our ministry at that point. But this was pre. And
even with that, the pastor meant well. Yeah, it wasn't no villain once again. But what it did is it was just different philosophies in ministry. Yeah. But it caused people to kind of draw a line in the sand. Not that one is good and one's bad, but people went to be part of this new church. But you also had, here's Parkway, that we didn't have any frills, really, not really have a budget to do anything. But we went from probably 80 students at that time, and we dropped to about 12, 15.
Yeah. And do you remember that? And then it was us, and of course, your dad's on staff, so you can't go anywhere. So you, Carmen, and Melissa, and and your sister, and us,
a few other people. Yeah.
And I think Rip Kinley at that time.
Oh yeah. Well,
Tom. It's Tom.
Tom Kinley was interim. Yep. He kept us going. Yeah. Took us to the zoo. And that's when took us to the mall. Thanks, Tom.
But it was amazing. But it was in those moments that out of not 80 people back then was huge. And to us as kids, we didn't know any different. But to go down to 12 to 15, how resourceful we became, and what opportunities it set up for us to be able to take steps towards singing and leading and doing different things. And I remember, though, in that time, us leading and singing, and for some reason, again, this is where Justin comes in and connects dots for me, because it's all just a big blur. But I felt like after every service or stuff, you would come up and hang out and be like, dude, we need to do more like the band thing and start singing with the band. I don't know.
You and I had a band that we were playing.
Yeah.
And we had done a few youth functions.
But we had no name. We had zero name to it, right? Or did we?
We did. Redeemed? It's very redeemed by the blood.
Yeah.
Because we had a rap that we did.
That's right. REDWMED by the B to the L to the double OD now. You remember that? Do you remember that? Yo, Sputnik's here, rapping on the mic, telling the old brothers about Jesus Christ.
Well, I'm going to kick it off, and me, my name is Juddy. I've come in here to rap and sing and give my testimony. I'm going to start from my heart, so I guess I will begin. I was a puppet rager, lying, stealing, innocent. But now I'm not, I'm not.
Okay. Wow. I know. So we had this rap white thing going on. Yeah, anyways.
But Mike, you're right, though. Yeah. Micah came up to us after, I guess, a few outings. Yeah. And had expressed like this openness to, hey, maybe we could sing some stuff together.
Mm-hmm. And I think that was the initial us singing and starting to sing and harmonize together, from what I remember. Is that correct?
Yeah, because there was such a special bond with us three. I mean, I don't even know what happened with the band. I think we dropped
Brian Keenum on the drums and Zach Bryan on the bass.
We just stopped with them, and we sent something special. And you, and Micah just began gathering at Micah's house. Yeah. Because
we did.
I've said this often.
And your dad was a huge part of gathering.
Because small groups are such a major thing now.
Right.
But they weren't then. But Micah's house was small groups. Like his dad started small groups before small groups were small groups. Yeah. And so we were hanging out at your house. It's not hard to get people over when you're grilling steak every night.
T-bone steak, jalapeno baked beans, and French fries in the fire, man. Man. I can just
And then
right there at your table playing cards, playing spades.
Yep.
Watching Michael Jordan.
Bro.
Yeah, that's right.
That was the only part
Yeah,
I was like, I'm not a Jordan fan.
Well, we rooted against him. I love Michael Jordan, but I would root against the Bulls on those nights. And then his dad goes and builds a basketball court in the backyard.
Yeah.
And we got to go play on that all the time.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? He paved it.
Oh, he had the pool, had the hot tub, and the basketball court.
And Dad grilling steaks.
Yes.
On the
steaks
deck.
on the deck.
Yeah. I got a great story. See if you guys remember this.
Hey guys, Red here. Just wanted to take a moment and ask if you're enjoying this podcast, could you do us a huge favor? Would you take a moment to copy the link from your podcast platform and then text that to a friend? Man, that would mean so much to us. Thank you. Okay, guys, now back to the conversation.
I got a great story. See if you guys remember this. Talking about food at my house. So yeah, we had people come all the time. Our door was wide open, which was great. Oh, yeah. And we loved it that way. And of course, Mom and Dad set it up that way. Well, we have a friend, Ryan, and he was with us a lot. Actually, at one point, played with us and stuff. Also, later in the years.
Ryan Jennings?
RJ,
he listens, man.
Shout out to
you,
buddy.
He listens to every episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love Ryan.
So Ryan, maybe you'll remember this, but he came over one day and we're all sitting in the kitchen just talking. And I guess Ryan was comfortable and hungry. And so he reaches into the closet. You guys remember this? And grabs a bag of cookies and just starts eating.
Oh my God, no.
And I am telling you right now, Ryan texted me and ants start coming out of his mouth. No. And there was ants in this.
Your mom would have been like petrified.
Out, man.
Yeah, I bet she was.
But anyways, that's one
Moved down to the
story.
South. Like, what's up with all these bugs in the South?
What in the world?
Gosh.
Yes, man. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And so I'm interested to see if Ryan remembers that. It'd be hard to forget, but
Ryan Jennings, we're calling you out today.
reach out.
Yes.
Do you
text me.
remember the ant incident?
Yeah. So
And I have heard that ants are actually high in protein.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
Well, I just remember, I remember your mom, like being like a mom to me, like a spiritual mom, and teaching. And your dad was a part of this too, as a spiritual father. But like we would eat, but then like the expectation was, all right, boys, it's time to clean. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't just. I was like, wow, I was learning what it was like to be a part of a family.
it was so
And
true.
Because I mean, I love
Like
my
with
dad.
a mom and a dad
mom and a
together.
dad together, and this, and no family's perfect. I get that, but for me, it was like the ideal family. Oh my gosh, dinner and I love to serve. How can I clean? And teaching me how to clean dishes and stuff. Because all I ever had was paper up to that point, or plastic.
Do you throw this in the garbage?
So those are the things that those are the small but huge moments in my life that were just so pivotal. Teach me how to become a man.
Well, Micah, I remember me and Rhett, obviously, we didn't grow up with this mindset of structure, being on time. We just we were on island time. Like we really were all the time. And so we finally get involved really because of you and your dad. We just love being with you guys. We get involved with the choir.
It was total lack of self-awareness too.
We lacked, bro. Let me speak for me. I say we, but I lacked so much. Holy moly. I lacked so much self-awareness.
Oh, I did too, man.
And I remember Pastor Rod bringing us into his office because we were late to every choir practice. But not only that.
Mike has got a huge smile on his face.
Me and Rhett lacked so much awareness. Not only were we late to sneak in, we walked in there like we owned the place. We would come in like,
hey, we're
what's
here.
going on?
Talking to everybody.
We're giving everybody five.
Yo, we can start now. We're
Pastor
here.
Rod is literally up there, probably in the depths of sharing something.
Yeah.
And he's just being so patient watching us. And we're greeting every row of every choir member.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
He never called us out in front of anybody. He was so kind. He would say, "Good to see you, boys." Boys is always his word.
Yeah.
He pulled me and Red into his office probably after the fifth
In
incident.
a very loving, kind, fatherly way.
And he said, and he basically said,
stern.
it was time management. He said, you got to be a man of your word. That's going to take you far, but you have to be a man of your word. And when you say you're going to be somewhere on time, that's the first time I heard that.
First time I ever heard that in my entire life. It was awesome.
Changed my life.
Wow.
I mean, like, I know Rhett can say it too. I'm known by being on time and detailed with things. And I always attribute it back to that, by that time, probably a 16-year-old sitting in Pastor Rod's office and him teaching me these lessons.
Well, self-awareness was huge. That was one of those, but also never in my life had I ever thought about a time frame of calling somebody or showing up at somebody's house. And I'll never forget, we would sit around and talk. I don't know if you remember this, but it's like, man, I don't know why you guys call past 9 o'clock. Like, nobody does that. Like, that's too late. We're like going to bed and y'all are like calling and stuff. Like, what do you mean, dude? Like, we're friends. We can just like,
can't we just
y'all stay up till like midnight? Nobody can just show up at your house. You're like, man, this is a Southern thing. We don't do this in the North.
Yeah. And it was probably
Cincinnati. I think
probably
you would come
very
from,
Bradshaw Barden thing.
But no, it was like, wow, I'd never thought about that before. I
Boundaries.
didn't think about boundaries and family time and
family night.
I just thought the world revolved around us and just whatever, you know.
Sometimes I still do, and I'm working on that. But you're right.
Yeah, but those are the. I think that's the beauty of this friendship is that it is so deep. It goes back to how impactful your parents were in our life, and you too, man, and Danielle, all of y'all.
Yeah,
it was huge.
Just
man.
being a part of that family was amazing. Yeah. And so we began singing together.
Yeah.
Take it from there. I mean, you were talking about how you remember that bus trip when we actually got our name, but from that point, we just began singing, but we have zero direction.
Yeah.
Your dad steps in to help us understand what harmony is, how to schedule bookings, all this stuff.
Yeah, I think to fast track it, I mean, we started singing in church because our church had church specials during the offering specials.
Yeah.
And we fastly became a favorite for the offering specials. And there's lots of stories there. I don't want to rabbit trail there, but anyways.
You can, bro.
Man, dude.
Micah, make it magical, baby.
Man.
Probably, one of the greatest stories ever. There's two, but this is one, was at Parkway, and we came on stage to sing a song, and we worked really hard. We practiced a lot.
We did.
We would literally sing all the time.
We worked hard.
We took that serious, and so we got up there, and Rhett blew the pitch pipe. He was a pitch pipe blower. Thank you for your ministry.
You're welcome, man.
Yeah, you were a phenomenal pitch pipe blower.
It was so good with that
that
pitch pipe.
There you go. And Rhett and I, Justin was always in the middle. He sang lead. And so Rhett and I are waiting. And because Justin started a lot of songs. And
he had to start the song for us to come in. And it had to be on pitch.
And we're waiting. And all of a sudden, little snickers throughout the crowd. And because we're looking at each other, and all of a sudden it becomes a comic thing that they're not singing. And then Rhett and I are like humming pitches and like doing everything in the world, putting our arm around him, rubbing his back, like, hey, buddy, you got this, man. Like, you can do this.
Everybody thought it was a skit.
They all thought it was like fun and because we were fun guys.
I thought we were mixing it up a little bit.
And they're like laughing hysterical.
It's the first time this has ever happened to us.
Yeah, there's only one guy that wasn't laughing hysterical. And that was the lead pastor, the senior pastor, Pastor Randy.
So we've talked about this.
Of course, he had to preach after this. So he's probably looking at the clock saying, okay, this comic relief thing has gone like 5-6 minutes now. Like, you boys need to start singing. So
my hands are in the air by this point. I'm like, dear Jesus, I'm just kind of trusting you, Holy Spirit. I just appear with my hands in the air. I'm like,
and Micah,
hallelujah,
Red's worship, Micah is like judging me.
Oh yeah, I'm not worshiping at all.
I'm probably. Of my eye, I see Micah's. I'm
probably frustrated.
I'm like, why hast thou forsaken me?
Yeah, it's a little embarrassing for me, and I'm like, come on, man, dude. We only practiced 759 times on this song.
It was a mind
sing
block.
the dang note, And so, Pastor Randy, and he starts to walk on stage, and miraculously, Justin finds the note and starts to sing, and the whole place erupts, stands on their feet. I think Jack Bryant at the time was the drummer.
He starts playing the drums.
And he
with
jumps on the drums. Joey Sanford jumps on the piano. We start having church
and
on
we
this
have
song.
Revival. Yeah.
We literally
out into revival.
literally brought the house down.
Oh, literally.
And then walked in the back. And I think we were so embarrassed that we had a whole choir robes, like 100 choir robes, right? And we had these little shelves, like these that we would hang these robes in, right? These closets,
these cabinets,
these cabinets. And I think we hid in the choir robes.
Oh yeah,
because we didn't know what else to do, and we were like talking to each other behind the choir robes, like what just happened?
I didn't know whether
do we have to go
or
back
happy.
out? Yeah, was that good? Was it bad?
Were they standing because they thank God they made it?
And do you remember when we walked out? Everybody was telling us, I love that skit y'all did.
My God. Yeah, and we just ran with it, of course. We owned it. It was like, yeah. So, I mean, long story short, though, we went from singing at church to going around and singing at other churches to CEO poll rallies to bigger events and sang national anthem for a few teams.
We went to Kansas City and sang a special there, and we had the cowboy
That's
rodeo.
the next greatest moment of all time.
We're in the Midwest, man. You got these Southern boys with
Packed
their little,
out, man.
Their
Packed out
suits
conference.
and tie that all match, and we're like,
I can remember thinking we went to it was a big youth conference,
massive youth conference,
and it was up north.
Oh yeah,
and I remember us,
City.
at this point we've been singing around a bit, and I don't remember ever having a big head that we thought we were something, but when we go to a church event, typically we would sing at some point. Yeah. And so I think we were excited to sing, especially for youth, because we're all used to singing for old people. We're thinking, so I remember even thinking, if we didn't say it, looking around going, this would be fun. Yeah. This would be good. I do remember talking, I think when we finally got the call, and whether Pastor Scott or somebody set that up, but they were like, hey, your boys, they can sing, they can open up the second night or something. Yeah. And I remember us talking and, saying, hey, we are from the South. And whatever we do, let's not look like we're from the South.
I think it was more, Mike. It was more geared toward Justin. I think it was
a little bit. I do remember.
You and me were like, we got to talk to Justin.
Yeah, it's like, okay, listen.
I'm learning new things now. Y'all are having conversations.
We were having side conversations.
Yeah. My mannerisms.
And it was. I think it was more Micah, not throwing you under the bus.
Yeah. I'm sure it was. I'm like, hey guys, this is
southern.
This is up north, and
things are a little
lot of cute
here.
girls in the room, and let's just not walk off the stage like three boys from Alabama. Let's not do this.
And
it didn't work out. Justin did not get the memo.
Well, at least he remembered the starting pitch.
He did remember the starting pitch.
And I think that's what threw it off, because he got through.
He got so excited. He started pulling a rodeo on us.
Literally, guys, you can't see it, but he was literally rodeoing like he had a lasso, and his hips were doing this right here. He had a little hip action in there. Everything but the cowboy chaps were happening.
Oh my God!
But the eruption was like amazing. They loved it.
They loved it. Those three boys from Alabama.
We kind of turned away toward our side of the stage.
Forsaking me again.
And we were like, Justin's out there doing this all by himself. I'm on the right stage, you're on left stage.
I remember thinking, we did great. We're not getting dates off of this thing, but we did great. Let's just go home and take our win. And
I remember it well. That was a packed room.
And we came off and I remember Mike going, "Oh dear God, did he do? Were you doing the cowboy? What was that?"
I did. I was like, it was like the lasso.
It just came out. Man.
It just came out naturally.
It felt natural.
It did. I felt so good during that performance, and I came off the stage, and y'all let me hear it right away.
We're like, "Are you serious right now?"
What were you thinking?
It was definitely some "what were you thinking" moments.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So it was great.
Good times.
Yeah, we had great times.
Oh my gosh. It
a lot of good memories.
It was best times, really.
Oh my.
Okay, this is funny. Okay. I mean, I at least got to talk about this.
It better be, because you're setting it up that way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe funny is not the right word. I do remember on our way to one of our beach trips. Remember, we would stop, and there were a couple of years where we stopped at a church on our way, and we would, we'd actually sleep in the church auditorium, all the students.
Okay.
But it's almost like we stopped, and it was
in
like
Montgomery.
it was like it turned into a 24/7 concert.
Is this the one where we did the worship in the round? Is it the church that had the auditorium where the stage was in the center and the kind of like the audience was around us, and the band was down like in a...
No, that was on our way home from a trip in Montgomery, and that was
okay. That's a different church.
That was pretty cool.
Because I thought they had the youth room that had like the 50s diner floor where we were all dancing and stuff, and like celebrate Jesus,
but that's
And
okay,
all
so
the
this was a
leaders were
different
like,
one.
Never mind.
Yeah, this is the different one. I blanked out when I was talking because I started getting different concerts in my head.
Okay.
But I remember this one specifically. It's on our way to the beach.
Okay.
It was supposed to be a youth event, and we were going to sing a couple of songs, and there were going to be human videos. For some reason on this night, it got turned into a straight up 24/7 concert.
Your dad was on the piano.
We
Right.
played basically most of the stuff. There was really not anything the youth did.
It was a youth choir, though, right? We had the choir, didn't we?
I don't remember. I just know. Here's how I remember. We going to the beach trip, and I won't give any details, but it's like we combined 2 youth groups.
Yep.
There was a bit of friction that happened because youth group A, let's say, and youth group B.
Were we a part of youth group A or
Let's
B?
say we were a part of youth group A. So
Okay,
here we go.
thank you.
Youth group B decided, some of the girls in the youth group decided, we want to look nice for the final gathering of this. And I mean, they got in there, just looked great in their dresses, like beachy dresses. It wasn't like inappropriate.
Sure.
But they got decked out. It wasn't something you'd think you're going to go into a student service either. But it looked great. Youth group A over here, some of the girls were a little jealous because of how the other ones had got decked out, and the others are just in their normal pants, shorts. Just no washed hair.
Yeah.
We've had a blast. We're in the sand. We're having a great time. And youth group A says something to youth group B, and it was very harsh, and it hurt a lot of feelings. And so there was this tension between the 2 youth groups. So here we are now. We go into service. It's thick how much tension is in that room. So much that the guy that we brought in, Charlton, to lead worship,
I do remember that.
he's leading, and he can sense within the first song that nobody is actually engaged in worship because he can just sense there's tension.
And as a kid, I had no idea.
He
Clueless.
stopped.
I'm just sitting there like, what is happening?
He
I
stops
don't
the
remember
service.
the
I don't remember.
Oh,
Yeah.
bro.
I remember him.
That's what I'm saying. As a youth, I had no idea.
Y'all, he stops the service.
I was good.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm fine.
Okay, hold on. We thought we were good.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I know where
He
you're going with
stops
this.
the service.
Okay.
And he says, hey, we cannot move forward until we reconcile this tension. And he gave,
Yeah.
it
He
felt
did
like
great.
a word
Yeah.
from the Lord setting it up. It felt really spot on. I'm on the front row thinking like, for real, let's work this out. Probably a bit holier than thou. I'm acting, and I don't know that I am at that season.
Yeah.
But I'm like, they need to work this stuff
He's like,
out.
if there's anything between you and your brother, you need to go and
Reconcile.
reconcile and ask for forgiveness.
So
that was the
we're,
bottom line.
We're kind of on the front row. It was us 3 kind of chilling on the front row. We're sitting on the ground, but we're always up front, just excited. He starts to play a little music in the background, no singing. He wants everybody to work out their stuff. I just remember thinking, let's wait till they get all this over. Maybe these girls can reconcile. So we're waiting there.
And I'm searching my heart going, man, I'm good. Everybody's good. I'm good. Like, I ain't got nobody, no beef with anybody.
Yeah,
I'm good.
we're good. Mm-hmm. Well, before you know it, I don't know if you remember
Take a
this.
ticket, please.
We've got a line
At least 12 people
that's
in line.
formed up between us 3.
You don't remember this?
I do not.
There's a line.
Well, maybe it was just Justin and I, but either way.
No,
We had
Maybe
a
they
line.
didn't have problems with me.
We
Maybe
had
it was
a
you guys.
line. Hey, will you take a number?
No,
you're
I'm
gonna
sure.
go. You're gonna ask for forgiveness for these
I
guys. Take a number. Take a
I
number.
assume Micah would have had a line going somewhere too, because I know for a fact we did.
Okay.
We have a line. Forget these girls that are thinking they got to work it out. I guess they did.
I had a few guys come up to me.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
am now remembering.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had all of these people coming up to us in line.
The studs, the college
The people
athletes.
we
Yeah,
looked
yeah,
up
yeah,
to.
The
yeah,
ones
yeah.
we were like, God,
That's
if we
what
could
I'm
only
saying.
be like
That's
them.
what I'm remembering.
Yeah.
Like,
It was the
I
guys
wish
that,
I was
Oh, yeah.
big and
yeah,
strong
Yes.
and cool
and cool.
and
Look,
They were the
yeah.
ones we thought were awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a
all lining
line
up.
of those
I
guys,
remember that.
and they're having to ask for forgiveness.
Yeah.
That I have held stuff against you.
I remember
Y'all
that.
have been getting all this attention.
I had
You've
no
been
idea.
on this stage, and I've held this. I've held this against you.
Yeah.
And I'm like so caught off guard. And I remember the whole room's ready to worship.
Yeah.
But they're having to wait for us 3 to get people done talking to us. So in the end, it was like, we were kind of the ones.
Yeah, we caused all the
I
problems.
was like, what? I was like, bro, like, I'm sorry. I forgive
I'm
you. I
pointing
forgive
my
you.
finger
I
at
just-
everybody else.
I got
And
at
it's
the
like,
point.
oh, it was me.
I get at the point where they started coming in and like, I forgive you, bro.
Yeah.
I don't even
No,
have to
no,
hear
we're
it.
good.
I don't
We're
have to hear it
good.
anymore.
Yeah, it's all
forgive
good.
you. Forgive
Yeah.
you. We got a service to continue. I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you. You're forgiven.
Yeah.
All right.
Charlton's like, just start the dang music.
All right,
This is going to take all
That was
night.
like, okay, you 3 over here, you in the
Oh my
line, you go
God.
outside over in the corner, y'all work your stuff out.
You
We
know
got a
how-
service to continue.
Well, how we talked about awareness. I had
man, yeah, me neither.
no idea.
Sure,
I
sure.
didn't either.
I thought
So to
everybody
those that
was
I-
happy
yeah.
to hear us sing for an hour and a half, even though they thought they were coming to perform some kind of human video. You mean you're not okay that we got to take over the whole show? Really? Didn't you enjoy our singing?
Oh my God.
Well, let me think about that for a second. We created our own little world, like one that didn't exist. We took steps as leaders. We didn't think of it as leadership.
Right.
And we started using our gifts in ways, and we never asked for the platform. We just took our gifts and stewarded it between us three, and doors open, and we just, why not?
We would sing anywhere.
I mean, anywhere.
Anywhere, man.
And so, but we always had open hands and open hearts, and we never did it thinking that we were better than anybody else.
Right.
We were just having a blast. But it's amazing how
we
the
were on
enemy will
mission.
use that, in people's lives. And I was like, golly, I don't apologize for what we're doing, but I hate that it's made you feel that way.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, and unintentionally,
Yeah.
I remember probably 90% of my youth days with you two. And so we probably cut a lot of people out completely unintentionally.
Totally, man.
But even practicing, the hours we practice, it was like, no, we can't go hang.
We were
can't go to
intentional.
Taco Bell. We've got to go practice.
Yes.
But we pushed a lot of people out.
But Micah, I remember feeling a sense of, I think it's the combination of surrendering our life to Christ. As Rhett said earlier, we're experiencing family like we never have.
Yeah.
We're experiencing in your dad, Pastor Rod, a guy who sees potential in us and who's trying to set us up where we're doing way more than we could have ever imagined. Mm-hmm. Doors are opening. We felt a sense of mission. I know for me, I want to speak for me because me and we had an interesting conversation a couple of years ago, and it took that long to have it, and it opened my eyes because I can remember me and Rhett obviously grew up the same way. Mm-hmm. So I would say of us three, me and Rhett would tend to be more agreeable on things.
Sure.
And you were different on certain moments. And I think we had our times where it was more Rhett and Micah or me and Micah or me and Rhett, but most of the time
I was always the guy in the middle between the
Rhett
three.
was the glue of the
I don't
group.
understand that.
Me and Micah were the fiery personalities.
I was
and
the
Rhett
peacemaker at that point.
Rhett kept us together from killing each other.
Yeah.
But me and Rhett, the way we grew up, we were such dreamers. Mm-hmm. And you were too, but I never realized this, what we talked about later. But here's how we would take it. Me and Rhett would dream certain things. Mm. And it would come across. I'm about to give more of the reveal in a minute. And we would just get excited and start talking about things. And you would almost physically, not necessarily shut it down with your words, but your body language would get kind of, like your hands are like
I've always been more
together.
of a realist.
It was more of this realist who did not like that dreaming talk too much. Mm. But we never took it like that. I took it as resistance, like, man, what's your, like, you don't believe in us? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And it would cause this friction. Mm. And of course, when you're young, you don't know what to do with that. You're trying to just, okay, we'll get through this because I felt so on mission with you and Rhett that we'll get through whatever we need to get through.
Yeah.
But I remember a couple of years ago, me and you were going and walking. We actually went and walked the soccer field at Parkway just to reminisce. And we drove around our old stomping grounds. And Micah began talking. And here's what I remember you sharing. You were like, the way I grew up, you've got to graduate. You've got to get a degree. You've got to, or even if you don't get a degree, you've got to work hard. You're going to have a full-time job because I thought for years, like Micah had this lawn business he built as a teenager. So during the summers, when we're not practicing, he had a work schedule we worked around where Micah, he went and bought a truck and he would go make tons of money cutting yards. But I never knew it was, I just thought you enjoyed doing it. Yeah. But what I learned from you is you had this work ethic, like if you don't do this, life's not going to be handed to you. Mm-hmm. And you would reveal to me that when me and Rhett were dreaming so much, it didn't really gel with you in that sense because you were looking at it like, we're going to have to go work really hard on these jobs. And that we're not going to, almost like we're not going to go tour. Like that's not really the life of going to go tour. So when we never knew, Rhett, when we were talking in this way, we're living the dream in our head. Micah had more of this realistic approach. And those were tensions we didn't know how to manage as these young boys.
I do remember some of the tension that you're talking about. But before we even go any further, I want to tell you guys just publicly and you guys, even today, I feel like that you would have my back 100% no matter what. Like we were truly brothers. You were the brothers that I never had. And very, very few people in life that you probably will go through. But I know even today, you would tell me what most people wouldn't want to tell me or say, and I would do the same, But yeah, and so there was tension. But part of why I was that talk a couple years ago that we had that was so great for me was I didn't have quite the negative reflection on those moments that you guys did. To me, it was brothers hashing stuff out, and part of my personality is even if we went nuts.
Yes.
If I love you for life.
Yeah.
Let's go grab a meal and see a movie tonight. You know what I mean? I just want to knock it out, get it done or whatever. And of course, with part of my testimony, some of that you're getting into the later years now.
Right.
Then a lot of that disappears. Which we have talked about some too.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
It was really tough.
Well, I think you probably had a healthy understanding of how to deal with conflict by watching your mom and dad, as wonderful as they are. I mean, all married couples have to work in communication. And so you growing up, I'm sure you saw how they worked things out and still loved each other and moved forward in areas where I never saw that. And Justin never saw that. So for me, I ended up being and I'm not this way anymore. I say I'm an overcoming people pleaser. Like I had to work at it. I'm very aware of it. But like for me, whatever I had to do to keep peace within any situation.
Because we loved each other.
Yeah. But the trauma that I experienced as a kid, losing my mom and then all the stuff, that I went through, I ended up just I felt like if I don't keep everybody happy, like that's that's my role. Like I just felt like my role in the group was keep you happy, keep us happy. So like my dream will come true. And it was that way, not just with us, but with every situation. And of course I've had to work through therapy and other things and get better through that throughout the years. I'm 47 and I've come a long way from that. But yeah, so that's where I kind of fit in the mix of just the trauma. And so I think looking back, hindsight's 2020, it was like, we're all dealing with our own little issues and we're not even aware that we have the issues and we're just kind of figuring it out. I think that's the beauty of the group was that we were forced, and that's what the beauty of teams and sports does. It forces you to confront and to grow and to become self-aware. And so I didn't realize all of that of what Justin just kind of set up in those moments. I had no idea. Yeah. So because I just thought you loved cutting grass, and you're like, "Come help me cut grass, Rhett. I'll do it for 1 or 2 yards." I'm like, "Nah, man, I'm good. I'm good." This is hard work, dude.
And see, I was a black and white thinker, and I'm used to the persuasiveness. If I have a dream, I was used to you go along with it, and if you resist me, it means you're against me. And I didn't have the realization to know that the best tension creates some of the best outcomes.
Absolutely,
yeah.
And so that's why we would kind of go through almost that you almost need a few hours of like, oh my gosh, I'm going to kill him. Because it was not in perfect agreement with me. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know how to reconcile that in my head other than just think like, man, you're not wanting us to succeed.
Right.
But then we would tie loose ends up and we'd come back together because there was that sense of it's worth it. Like, when you're called by God with people, there's that sense of mission that it's like, we're going to get through this. Yeah. But still, I didn't understand all that then in my own immaturity and lack of just awareness.
But it was huge in our development and just becoming the men that we are today, I think, more than anything.
Coming up on the next episode of Armchair Authentic.
From that accident, that was a big crush, a big blow, I think, to our entire church. Dad was an incredible shepherd. There's pastors that have different gifts. Yeah. And I think one of the greatest gifts my dad had was he really was a spiritual father to a lot of people. Yeah. And he was a great friend. And so it was a big loss. And of course, my mom was at the time the children's pastor also. And so you kind of had two high-level pastors that we just lost in the church. And so that was really hard to handle. But I remember the first couple services that we had after that were really powerful. They were powerful for me, and I remember us getting back on stage, leading worship, and in my mind and in my eyes, I don't know how it played out in everyone else's eyes, but I remember making the decision that this loss would not define me.
We're really looking forward to that episode. But in the meantime, if you enjoyed this episode, would you do something for me? Would you take out your phone? Would you copy the link and send it to a friend? We would really appreciate that. Thank you. Well, until next time, we hope you have a fantastic week. See you soon.